It seems Yevgeny Prigozhin Day it was revealed that General Sergei Surovikin had been removed from command. Russian Air Force means two most influential leaders' first phase Ukrainian war are now gone. Their dismissal was a kind victory for old guards in Kremlin. The Wagner Group, led by Prigozhin, spearheaded the capture of Bakhmut, Russia's only battlefield gain so far this year. And during his brief overall command in Ukraine, his ally Surovikin began building defensive fortifications, seen as firewalls. It is very important for the present position of the occupier. The course of the invasion, however, has changed since the fall of Bakhmut and Prigozhin's short-lived unsuccessful rebellion in late June. Wagner's 15,000-strong light infantry force has not been involved in combat since late May, after the rebellion was effectively suppressed. Already demoted from the general command, Surovikin has been dismissed and imprisoned, probably since June. Given his close relationship with Prigozhin and his presence in Rostov, where Wagner's brief march to Moscow began. In other words, Russia's military command in Ukraine a few months ago was already centered around senior defense Minister Sergei Shoigu and Chief of Staff Valery Gerasimov, and it would be a mistake to write them. As Ukrainian counteroffensive continues to progress slowly on southern Zaporizhzhia front and even around Bakhmut in east, Russians are simply showing that they are not in defensive mode. 0207 From Putin's chief to Wagner chief. Timeline of Prigozhin's relationship with Russian president. At beginning of August, Russian forces launched another artillery-led attack on Kupiansk on the northern part of Eastern Front and from their south towards Lyman. Regional gains of a few miles in the middle of the month were modest. But Ukraine had to strengthen its lines. As the war dragged on, Russia developed its military effectiveness, mostly on the defensive. For example, the intense minelaying and anti-drone forces of electronic warfare blunting Ukraine's advance forced Kiev's cash-strapped army to constantly innovate. It is not yet clear whether Moscow's offensive performance has improved, but sector around Kupiansk has vantage of being close to Russia, and resupply may be easier there than in the south or in Crimea, where logistical targets have been hit by British and French Storm Shadow missiles. The elimination of Prigozhin also helps support, for time being, the contingent in Moscow, which is at center of Russia's war effort. Orizia Lutsevich, deputy director of the Chatham House think tank, said, "How will this war end? What happens at home in Russia is just as important as what happens on the battlefield." Prigozhin's failed revolt in June was only moment in the past 18 months when Ukrainians thought that invasion of their country could be stopped. The Wagner boss was the only major Russian political figure to have an independent profile from the Kremlin, and for a moment it seemed